What would you say to someone who's kind of, may have been in a situation where you were when you started the program, thinking about it? Should I take this program? Should I do it? What would you say to that person?
I mean, first thing would definitely do it. If you have the time to learn to get to the other side of to where it's more passive, absolutely do it. It's very user friendly, if you will. It's easy to implement if you're willing to do the study enough to learn it, practice the heck out of it, paper trade, live trade, whatever you got to do to really get it ingrained in your brain. What are the rules and why should I do this? Absolutely. And start small. Definitely start small. That's what I did. My first trade was one contract. I was going to make $50 or something, or whatever it was, right? It's like, woohoo, can't get rich on that. But you actually can over time. And the thing that appealed the most, once you get to a certain level and you're making $50 consistently, it takes zero different effort mechanically to make $500. You just do 10 contracts. If you want to make $5,000, 1,000 contracts. It's harder because the numbers are bigger, but mechanically, it's no additional time. It is a scalable business that is just unbelievable. It's been worth every penny. If you can fight through to the other side and willing to spend the time, it is phenomenal what it can do for you. I mean, I can't speak glowingly enough, and I'm not one of those I don't do that usually. I'm usually really cynical. So this program has been far exceeded my expectations. I would never tell anybody don't do it unless I knew for a fact there's somebody who cannot learn to be disciplined.
All right. So today we're joined by Russ Keller. Russ is a part of our Market Power program. Thank you for spending the time today to, tell your experience and how things are going in the Market Power program. Appreciate that.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right. So my first question for you, can you give the viewer a little bit of background about how you found OptionGenius and how did that come about?
That's kind of interesting to a degree. I'm self-employed. I do provide services for homeowners, construction type services for homeowners in their homes. And 30 years in now, and I was just looking to do something that wasn't so labor intensive. Just wanted a way to make money some other way as well. I dabbled in real estate briefly, much harder than I thought it was ever going to be, and just said, that's it, I'm done. And then my daughter, her boyfriend is a successful guy, and he was starting to trade something in the market. And she had a book on her joint Amazon account, The Passive Trading, Alan's book, right? And I'm like, what is this? She goes, oh, I wanted to understand what he's doing because he talks about stuff and it goes over my head and I don't know what it is. So I wanted to understand it and say, well, it's on our joint account on Kindle. Can I read it? She's like, yeah, just read it. So I read it, and this was 3 years ago or thereabouts. And I read it and I'm like, this sounds really intriguing. I'm gonna get my own copy of the book, and then I got a few little programs and I dabbled and read and played around with it, but didn't do anything, no live trade. And then I was getting frustrated, being cheap. I didn't want to spend any money. I got on with another group through a podcast that was offering a boot camp where I got 2 coaching calls with them live a week. Figured I'll just jump in with both feet, get my feet wet. But it's cheap. It was like $300. Didn't cost much. I was way in over my head. Some of those screens and stuff they're showing me, I don't even know what they were showing me. I don't even understand any of it. And so then there's got to be another way. And then I saw one of Alan's emails about the market powers. They were calling it something else at the time. And I said, I need to at least go to the webinar, see what it's about. That's kind of how I got where I am now. So
fantastic. So, you were the original part of the beta group, the original people. Would you say there was anything that when you were considering the program that specifically jumped out, you were like, man, I have to be a part of this? Is there anything specific that made you, take the plunge?
I think it was twofold. It seemed like there was, because of the way it was structured with the signal, it was very clear when you needed to make a trade. There didn't seem to be ambiguity about that. It seemed to be very clear. It's going to let you know there's time to make a trade. Where most of us are afraid, well, is this the right trade? Is this the right time? So I liked that. And the sheer numbers of it and what looked like a very simple trading program was enough to go, okay, I'm not real bright, but I can figure this out. With somebody holding my hand and telling me how they did it, I can figure this out. So that the key was clear signal to trade, simplicity, and some hands-on help. And that was all of it.
Excellent. So did you have any personal expectations of the program before you joined? And if so, have they been met?
Well, I wanted to make $1 million today. I didn't get there, but no, it was realistically, I was expecting exactly what I've gotten, which was some training. I could ask questions anytime I needed to, support, and a simple to understand, easy to follow. I don't want to say blueprint. It's not quite that precise, but a good set of guidelines. Super happy with how it's met those expectations, that it does live up to what Alan said it's going to in that first webinar. It just keeps marching forward.
Yeah, it does. So we're on what, 51-0 at this point.
I believe that's what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it almost is, we're at a point now where people are like, is this even true? Or is this possible? I mean, is this fake? So we're kind of in uncharted territory as far as people believing whether things work or not.
Yeah, it seemed, having lived it, it seems too good to be true. I don't have as many trades because I traded paper for a little while, and I don't know, I started later than you guys actually started trading. And I think I'm in 35, 37 trades, I think, somewhere around there, and not a single loser. And I'm like, this can't be right. Right? But I've lived through every trade. I've managed every trade. Not a single loser for the trades I put on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to believe, but it's true. Is there a special feature of the program, if you had to identify, that you really like about the program?
Again, I guess it's the signal, because it solidifies today's a day to trade, not I wonder if I should. That signal tells us today's a day to trade, and as long as I check the other variables, Fed meetings, anything that might affect that trade, it makes it easy to understand it's time to pay attention and do something today, and then it'll be over tomorrow for the most part. So then I can go back on with my life, do what I want to do.
Yeah, it's great that you touched on that, because a lot of people say, especially it takes the guesswork out of it, right? So many times as traders, we're thinking whether we need to put the trade on, should we not? So the decision is kind of made for us in a way. So that kind of really helps things.
Definitely.
Yeah. So how has the support been for you from OptionGenius, but as well as, the people that are trading side by side with you?
Well, we'll start with community first. Community is great. Everybody's really open, and they'll tell you what you think. And some of the guys in the group are, these guys are just math wizards, right? They can tell you the nuances of all this stuff way over my head, but that's okay, because you can glean from that a lot of information that I would never do the research for. If you ask a question, somebody in the Facebook, which is not my favorite thing to be part of, but the answers, you can get an answer, and you'll get a pretty straight answer, and there's easy communication back and forth. There's some delay. It's not like a chat room where you're there instantly and they're all there, but very good. And then from you, especially you, Matt, and from Alan and the staff, I have never had a question go unanswered for any major length of time. I told you about that other group I was in. I would send an email to the head trader, 2 weeks, maybe I'd get an answer, maybe. And it was always cryptic and a little bit less than I was. Yeah. So anyway, so that was the only other group I was with. But yeah, it's been phenomenal. If I have a question, I can get a question answered. And it takes a lot of the fear out of it, because that fear of what's going to happen or what's coming up next, when you're by yourself, it just overwhelms you. And I didn't need that feeling. I didn't want that feeling. I day traded many, many years ago, and I was all on my own. It's like, oh, it was horrible. So yeah, no, the support has been phenomenal, even to administrative staff when they couldn't get into one of the modules or something. Within 24 hours, I had an answer and I was in. So it's been great.
It's great to hear that, because, we really strive to create a community, and we really believe we have a special community here, and that everyone cares about each other. And, it's really a special place that you have, people that have knowledge from the beginner all the way to Einstein, they're all the way up there and they know everything. It's really nice to have that backstop of someone that's trading, and you could trade and feel comfortable whatever level you're at. So that's really nice to have.
Definitely.
So how has your trading changed, if any, since you joined Market Power?
Well, partially because of you and others in the group, I've recently gotten much better at this is the first live trading really I've done is Market Power. That was really where I started, and a few covered calls. It's definitely been reinforced to me that if you can get out of a trade, pay the money and get out, pay the little bit and get out. Don't sit on a trade and wait for every penny. Don't try and milk every trade for every penny. It gets painful. And that's been beat into me a little bit, and I've been happy for it because I've lived the other side of it. Market Power, for whatever reason, and you and I have talked about this, there've been a couple of adjustments for some folks in the group where they've had to adjust the trade. I don't know if it's instinct, luck. Some people were trading and I just didn't feel right, and I just didn't trade knowing there's going to be another trade, and I haven't had to adjust. Everything has been just really straightforward, and I think I'm gaining an instinct of kind of a feel for what might happen. We don't know. It's never guaranteed, of course, but I've gotten a feel for what to look for. It just definitely has calmed me down to where I was starting with very small contracts, and now I'm at a level where significantly bigger. The income's starting to actually start kicking in, and I don't feel uncomfortable placing a trade anymore. I did in the beginning in March. Ooh, I was really nervous. Now it's like, oh yeah, I can do that, or I can just pass if I don't feel comfortable, and there'll be another one. It's no big deal.
That's great. You can see how your progression, how your confidence is built over time. That's great. So now to the question, how have your results? I mean, we kind of guessed for the way you've been talking. So how are your results been so far?
again, like I say, and I know it's hard to believe. I wouldn't believe it if somebody told me if I didn't live it. Every trade has been profitable. I think there was one where it was a little nail biting because I didn't get out when I could. That's what I was talking about. I didn't get out at the small amount when I could. And at the end of the day, it just ran against us hard. Got out from under it just before I had to pull the trigger and stop out at the appropriate loss, because loss is part of life. It's going to happen, part of trading anyway. We market closed just before I was going to have to pull the plug. We were like right on the precipice. It was either pull the plug or jump off the cliff, and I didn't want to jump. And then the market closed. I'm like, ooh, and then I kicked myself off for weeks. You see why you should have got out in the morning at 5 cents? Do you see why? They went from 5 cents positive trade to, I don't know, it was like 250 debit or something, and 260 was the pull the plug. That's it. It's over. But yeah, no, it's been phenomenal to the point where I have to fight all my instincts to go much larger because I'm not quite ready. I haven't built up enough of I don't know how many months or years I should win like this before I go, okay, we're good. Let's just move forward. So I have to fight the instinct to bet, to go large, to double and triple contracts. I purposely don't, even though I know chances are it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think you'll know when you'll know. I mean, a part of trading is, it's a progression like anything, and your confidence goes along with that. And then, you just know when you're ready. I think that's different for everybody, but it's there, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to put numbers on it to a degree, the program at this point for me has paid for itself 5 times over.
Fantastic.
Now I have had to start small and build up, of course.
Sure.
But yeah, but at this point in time, this snapshot in time from the day I started till today, the course has paid for itself 5 times over, so which is phenomenal. I spent less on this course than I spent on dues and association dues and stuff for real estate, and I didn't make any money in many years in real estate. So like this has been, and I'm not glued to a phone. Real estate is horrible for that. So is my contracting business. Glued to a phone. This, nobody calls me about this. When the trade's done, it's done. I told you I was traveling yesterday. Placed a trade yesterday, woke up this morning with position closed, profit in the bank, money already in the bank, done. Didn't have to think about it all day. That's the passive piece that was the key why I wanted to continue.
Can't beat that. So now I have a fun question for you.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with all your profits? Some people, they roll it into their accounts, keep growing it. Some people take trips. Do you have anything that you plan to do with your profits?
I'm not some guys are like, I'm going to buy me that new car I always wanted. I'm going to do that. I'm successful in my other business. I'm not a flashy guy. I don't need to drive the nicest, newest car. My car is newish and I like it. So, and there's no dream vacations. To be honest, the main driving force here is I've been doing my other job 30 years now. I really want to do something else. I want my time back. So my goal, my flashy dream is not a thing. It's lifestyle. And the passive part of passive trading was the part that really appealed to me. And I can see the benefit of it. Is it 100% hands off? No, can't be. But if I could make as much in an hour a day or so of looking at this versus working all day, that's huge. I mean, it's life-changing. It's unbelievable. So my fun thing is I want my time back. First goal, replace my wife's income so she can quit if she wants to. Second goal, replace my income without having to work every day. Third goal, increase my retirement accounts exponentially. Even though I know I can just continue to pull money out, I also want those things large. So if something happens to me, she's got something to fall back on. So that's really my dream. It's more practical than flashy. I'm not going to blow it on a Ferrari. It's never going to happen.
That's great. I mean, it's really nice that whatever you want to do, you can meet your goals through these programs. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm seeing very clearly, sorry to interrupt. I'm seeing very clearly that if it continues to progress the way it has, as I get better and better, knowing there will be some losses along the way, I can see light at the end of the tunnel now and not think it's an oncoming train. I can see it. It's like, oh, this is doable. Just takes time and discipline.
Yep. That's great. So my final question to you is, let's say, there'll be new people coming into this program as you were the original beta testers. What would you say to someone who's kind of, may have been in a situation where you were when you started the program, thinking about it, should I take this program? Should I do it? What would you say to that person?
I mean, first thing would definitely do it. If you have the time to learn, to get to the other side of to where it's more passive, absolutely do it. It's very user-friendly, if you will. It's easy to implement if you're willing to do the study enough to learn it, practice the heck out of it, paper trade, live trade, whatever you got to do to really get it ingrained in your brain. What are the rules and why should I do this? Absolutely. And start small. Definitely start small. That's what I did. My first trade was one contract. I was going to make $50 or something, or whatever it was, right? It's like, woohoo, can't get rich on that, but you actually can over time. And the thing that appealed the most, once you learn it, get it dialed in, and you guys have said it many times, trading is 90% mental. Once you get to a certain level and you're making $50 consistently, it takes zero different effort mechanically to make $500. You just do 10 contracts. If you want to make $5,000, 1,000 contracts. It's harder because the numbers are bigger, but mechanically, it's no additional time. It is a scalable business that is just unbelievable. In my construction business, I can't scale like that without hiring oodles and oodles of people, and I have to pay them, so I don't really truly scale. Yeah, I'd say just do it, bite the bullet, spend the money. It's been worth every penny. And like I said, 5 times over, it's been worth every penny. I don't regret it even a little. And we all have purchases we regretted, those seminars we've gone to. And that book we bought and put on the shelf and never read, so it didn't do anything for us. This as a community and a support system has been phenomenal. I can't even, I've told it almost everybody I know about it who will listen. Most of them go, huh? Or what's an option? I didn't know either. But if you can fight through to the other side and willing to spend the time, it is phenomenal what it can do for you. I mean, I can't speak glowingly enough, and I'm not one of those I don't do that usually. I'm usually really cynical. So this program has been far exceeded my expectations. Little fear going in when I first said, okay, buy, click. I'm like, oh, I just spent some money. Uh-oh. It's been phenomenal. I would never tell anybody don't do it unless I knew for a fact there's somebody who cannot learn to be disciplined.
Well, we really enjoy having you in these programs. We wish you continued success as always. And who knows, we'll look up in some time and maybe we'll be 100 now. So who knows? But really appreciate you, Russ, taking the time to explain to everyone, your process, what your fears are, how you've progressed through the program. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's been phenomenal. I have appreciated every minute of the time spent on this, even the scary days, because they make you a better trader.
That's true. That's true. Well, we appreciate it. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.